I got to go to this first. I got to talk about Donald Trump and his ridiculousness tonight on MSNBC, where he said that there should be some type of punishment for women who have abortions. Very shortly after that, he took it back and said he didn't really mean that there should be a punishment for women who have abortions. There should be some type of punishment for the doctors who perform it. Now, this isn't news. This is just a continuation in the clown car that is this disaster that is the Republican primary. The Republican Party is broken. They are broken. They're at the point almost of no return, and they have to make some decisions at their convention as to what they're going to do. But either Donald Trump, all the above, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich, they are all very, very much problematic. But the news portion is that, I guess I can't make it news other than the fact to say that this is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my life. However, this is consistent with republicanism. This is consistent with conservatism. Donald Trump only says what Republicans have been thinking for a long time. And I guarantee you that there's at least 2 or 3, 4, 500,000, maybe 1 million pro-life people who absolutely liked what Donald Trump said in terms of some type of penalty. So the news is not that Donald Trump said it. The news is that this is consistent with Republican ideology, and Republicans are trying to distance themselves from Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is a mirror image of the Republican Party. He's the id of the Republican Party. He is the one who's emotional, saying everything that they wanted to say, but they have hidden behind political correctness of their own in order for political expediency, of course, right? So he's saying exactly what they won't say. He's saying pretty much what Ted Cruz believes. I guarantee you Ted Cruz would want to outlaw abortion. He's just not dumb enough to say it out loud. Donald Trump is dumb enough to say it out loud. Ted Cruz is not dumb enough to say Donald Trump started it first. He started it first. Donald Trump is dumb enough to say that and get called out by Anderson Cooper, or whatever his name is. Donald Trump has zero filter. And so we're getting a chance to look in the heart and soul of the Republican Party. And that shouldn't be news to anyone, except the fact that the Republican Party is embarrassed. And they realize that they're writing with Donald Trump. They are writing a blank check. Listen, Susan Sarandon and all the stuff that happened with her and the possibility of some Bernie Sanders supporters going for Donald Trump instead of Hillary Clinton. I don't have any commentary on that particular thing right now, because I have a whole debate that we're going to host about that. That's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is that the Republican Party has created a monster that is writing a blank check for the Democratic Party, so that if the Democratic Party even put up Martin O'Malley would be able to beat Donald Trump. Right now, Hillary Clinton, who earlier in this election only beat Donald Trump by like 1 point, Hillary Clinton has even beaten Donald Trump by 11 points. And the question is, can Donald Trump track back to the center enough to overcome his negative ratings? I said this to a colleague this morning, and I'll leave it here. I said this to a colleague this morning, and I will leave it here as I read some comments. He asked me, a colleague of mine asked me, do I think Donald Trump is for real, or do I think Donald Trump is in the bag for Hillary Clinton? And that seems to be a narrative that has come back to life. Here's my answer to that. One, there's only one way to tell. If when they get to the general election, he gets the nomination and Donald Trump starts moving back to the center, and Donald Trump starts acting like a mature adult and not like a 5-year-old. If you see that type of behavior in the general election, that means Donald Trump really wants to win and he's not in the bag for anybody. However, if you see Donald Trump continue to act like a buffoon, continuing to act like a child, continuing to say the most repugnant and ridiculous things that are just not acceptable for probably 80% of America, even some Republicans, if he continues to do that, then I think that yeah, at that point, if he does that in the general election, what else could you say? I mean, it just makes absolutely no sense at that point, right? Somebody in his camp would have told him, all right, we won the general election, we won the primaries, now let's go for a general election strategy, right? If he ignores that, then I would start to think like everybody else that he's just here to help Hillary Clinton win. But I can't say that at this point. I have to see his general election campaign strategy. And I personally think Donald Trump's ego is big enough for him to actually try to win this thing. All right. So I've got some breaking news out of Mississippi.